Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Community Breakfast Show today, 13th June 2022. To present the show, I am your host, Zipporah Mshala, and I will later be joined by my co-host, Miriam Kayemba. So today we have some very interesting topics for you. In the first segment, we're going to be talking about the poor work culture of some contractors in Zambia. Over the years, in fact, not just of recent, we have seen instances where some projects have begun but later have been abandoned. But then with the increase of our constituency development fund from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha, there have been concerns that such incidences should not be allowed to continue. So we're going to be joined by Mr. Chilekwa Munkonge, who is the Kawata Constituency Development Fund Chairperson, Kawata CDF Chairperson at 7:30 to help us discuss the topic. And we're going to open the phone lines at 7:30 so that you can give your view on what has been happening. So this follows an inspection that was actually carried out in Kawata Constituency by the CDF Chairperson as well as some officials from the Lusaka City Council, where they discovered that some of the projects that were started as early or as recent as 2015 are already becoming dilapidated, and so this has raised concern that with the increase of CDF, we should not see such a repetition. Otherwise, we're going to be throwing our money down the drain. And at 8 hours, we're going to be joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who's going to just help us debunk some medical scams in Zambia. We have seen many people out there have begun maybe undertaking various ventures claiming that maybe certain things, maybe some certain medicines give this and that. But are these people just really making money out of people? Is it medically proven that those things work for whatever they claim to work? And so also going to expect your phone calls at that time. But before we begin our day, let's just have a little stretch. So let's do the morning boost and warm up a bit. So let's have the morning boost.
Good morning. Welcome to our morning boost in Camnet, wherever you're watching us from. If your hubby is in bed, tell them that they need to wake up. We are here to do a workout. And guess what? I have a special friend of mine. She's here to work out with me. Good morning, Chola.
Good morning, Isaac.
Great. Welcome. You ready?
Yep.
We're going to do a warm-up and then a workout. Let's go jam. Let us know where you're watching us from. If you're on Facebook, you're welcome. So we're going to do this for a minute. How was your night?
Boring.
Is it? You're going to boost your morning this morning, right?
Oh, yes.
Awesome stuff. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, marching. Let's go, Team Camnet. Let's go, let's go. It's a warm-up for a minute. We'll just do that. Very simple, very basic. Let's go. Keep marching. And 4, 3, 2, step touch. There you go. Let's go. And we'll be beginning our workout soon. 4, 3, 2, knee highs. Stay at it. Let's go. Keep on the knees. What else can we give them? Punches or 2 knees? What do you suggest?
Let's go our legs.
Our legs?
Yep.
Okay. So what do you think? We go back to step touch?
Yes, please.
4, 3, 2, step touch. Go. Hands up. Let's go. I think we can give them hamstrings. What do you think?
Let's bring.
Okay. 4, 3, 2, hamstring, go. 1 each. Let's go, Team Camnet. 1 each. Oh, we need to pull some stuff. Let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 2. Stay there. 4, 3, 2, marching. That is your cool down now. If you want, you can quickly sip some warm water. And there we go. I think we need to throw some punches.
Let's do this, Camnet!
You know the one we're gonna do?
Okay.
We're gonna do a side punch. We'll be trotting with a punch. You remember that one?
Yes.
4, 3. We'll go with the right one actually. 4, 3, 2. Let's go. This is doable. What do you think?
I'm dying.
Ooh, I don't think so. Let's go. Push. Push. Let's punch into our day. Ooh. 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 Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The other side. She's sipping some water. Now that's the reality of the workout. Sometimes you are doing the workout and you just have to go and sip some water. So there you go. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, and marching. So now I deliberately brought in my friend so that you see how it goes. Sometimes in the middle of a workout, you feel like you need to stop, drink some water. And that's what she did. Shola, let's go. Water break is over. Woo. Let's go. Match, 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 match. And 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's go. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. On the sides. 1, 2. Keep going. Let's go. 1, 2. And 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's go. Match, 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 match. Awesome workout, Team Camnet. Say something on our Facebook page. Let us know where you're watching from. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. This has been Isaac Matza, your presenter. Remember, always to tune into Camnet TV.
So I hope you had a wonderful exercise, because I did, and definitely this would get us warmed up and ready for the day. So just now we're going to jump into the health segment with Dr. Chelo Mwanza, who's going to be talking about the importance of under 5 clinic, because we have seen that some women, mainly those who have not been sensitized maybe in some communities, who actually believe, first of all, that you should not even go for antenatal. It is okay to give birth from home, and even things like under 5 are not really important to them. So we're just going to have the doctor actually highlight to us why it is important for you to take your child to under 5 clinic. So let's just have Dr. Chelo Mwanza join us on set.
Morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show, and in particular the health segment. I'm Dr. Chelo Mwanza, a member of the Medical Women Association of Zambia. This week's health segment is brought to you happily and proudly by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. This week we're going to look at the importance of under 5 clinics, or the importance of child wellness clinics. And so of course, all of us as mothers, as guardians, as aunties and uncles, we've noted that each time a child is born in a family, we are required to take this child for frequent reviews at hospitals. especially for those that are under 5. One might wonder why. Is it really necessary? And that's the topic for this week. We're going to look at why it is important for you to take your child for the under 5 visits. We're also going to look at the various components that these under 5 clinics have to offer. Most of our parents are very faithful in taking their children for the under 5 visits, especially during the period when they have to receive their vaccinations. After that, there's really a little bit of slackening. But today, I want to inform you that there's more to just going for vaccinations, and that is our topic of discussion. So when we take our children for these under 5 visits, really there is a lot that we are supposed to get from there, things that we're supposed to learn, and a few things that we're supposed to get other than the vaccinations. So at under 5 clinic visits, we're going to monitor your child's growth. We're going to check their weight, we're going to check their height, we're also going to check their brain development. Also going to advise and give you information on the feeding and the varieties of food that can help this child to grow as they are supposed to. We can also talk about how, we can prevent HIV transmission in an event that a mother is infected with HIV. We talk about how we're going to prevent the transmission to the child during and after pregnancy. We can also talk about the danger signs that can be noted in a child who is unwell, or a child who has, for instance, diarrhea, what a parent needs to look out for. So then, who should go for these under 5 clinics? As the term itself is self-explanatory, under 5 clinics are meant for children that are below the age of 5. So that is from birth to 5 years of age. And who should take this child to the clinic? Ideally, would love both parents to come with this child to the health facility for the under 5 visits. In an event that both parents can't manage to bring the child, a mother can bring the child, the father can bring a child, an uncle, an aunt, a grandmother, or let me just say the guardian to this child can bring this particular child for the visits. Yeah, one other thing that I need to bring to our attention is that we have this card, a children's clinic card. So this is where everything that we do at the under 5 card is recorded. And I should mention that it is very rich with information, such that if you went to a hospital with just this card, the doctor would be able to extract a lot of information and know about the well-being of your child. And so if we look at this particular first page, it has the child and the parents' information. So it has information pertaining to the child's name, the date of birth, the birth weight, information that is very vital for us to know as we follow up this child for the wellness clinic. It also gives the place where this child was born, where they're currently staying, if this child has any defect, if they're born with any abnormality. So this particular health record will give us information. It also gives us information on if this child has any brothers or sisters, those are any siblings, or if this child needs particular attention because maybe they have a birth defect and they will need to be followed up closely, or maybe if, let's say, they were born with HIV, if they are born to a parent with HIV, so we'll know that at this particular time this child will need all that information. And so this week, that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at the importance of taking the children for under 5 visits, and we're also going to look at what the components of these under 5 visits are. So there's more to just getting vaccinations. As we take our children for under 5, we're going to learn more even as we go on. So tomorrow we're going to look at growth monitoring. We're going to look at how we check for the weight, the height, and the brain development of the child. Thank you for joining us. This segment was proudly brought to you by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. See you tomorrow.
So that was Dr. Chelo Mwanza just telling us the importance of taking your child to under 5. So I hope you learned one or two things, because I didn't. Just a reminder to our viewers, you can sponsor the whole segment and get visibility for the brand. And just before I move on, I'm going to take a look at today's money market just to know how the kwacha is currently faring. Let's take a look at the money market. So we have the great British pound, which is buying at 20 kwacha 76 ngwe, selling at 21 kwacha 16 ngwe. The United States dollar, which is buying at 16 kwacha 75 ngwe, selling at 17 kwacha 80 ngwe. We have the euro, which is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe, selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. The South African rand, which is buying at 1 kwacha 6 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 8 ngwe. So that is your money market. And just a reminder to our viewers, the money market is also up for sponsorship, and so we have seen that the United States dollars is actually appreciating in comparison to the kwacha on the selling side, selling at 16 kwacha 75 ngwe. And just now we're going to take a look at one of the stories that made headlines in yesterday's news from the community desk. And so this is a proposal from Zambia's power utility company to actually increase the domestic tariffs from 769 kwacha to 4,700 kwacha. So these are connectivity tariffs for electricity. And so we had a number of views and even from lawmakers actually opposing the move. So let's just take a look at the story from Zesco.
Whilst in opposition on 29th of December 2014, the Republican President, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, reiterated that his government, once forming power, would reduce electricity tariffs. Mr. Hichilema said high electricity tariffs were negatively affecting businesses, stating that most entrepreneurs were finding it difficult to meet costs as a result of high tariffs. Fast forward to 12th August 2021. The Zambian people voted for United Party for National Development. Despite being voted into power and the many promises made prior to the general elections, some Lusaka residents have opposed the proposal by ZESCO of increasing domestic electricity connectivity tariffs from 769 to 4,700 kwacha. Camnet TV caught up with some who had this to say.
Mwatima sevenzera sisi mwamenana kila kapani tarifi kusevenza tisevenza kuti tisitikire mitengo chingala chovuta venango wakana mitengo aliyense nikubwera kutandaura pobwera kugereza uromuze mtengo aide siniviziva because izi naise tipeza tingala na peni naise mwaona so at least mwantakambira but at least naise funga mitengo stebwanzi zaiga pamwa tangala pamwamba because kuno latabo winango agera uro zingati simugwirizana abantu kuti msenzere pamoja oyazagera mtengo wake oyazagera mtengo wake so because tinya mukira pamwamba tonze tingala che down mwaona so kusira kwa deo peza ati at least pasevenza kwa at least badia ko wana naye chitefya abantu tibakwanisha munifafina musaka ne fafina abantu balaba able kwanisha.
The residents fear not being connected to the national grid.
Spaza kwanilise nditili bambiri yakwe batisunga kwanilise ndaba nkuona temwe amene vintu vavutira. Vintu vavuta abantu badibena na drama badibema nchito. Ero manje nangu azafuna kufuna kutaike malaita azafuna. Manje drama za mnezo niza mpwezera kumbuyo. Kaidi kulibe kana zaichosa. Ipeze kakudya kwa kweka inkala niyo vutikira. Ni vambiri vaneti vutikana na veve.
Meanwhile, Patriotic Front Chama Member of Parliament Davison Mungando says most people living in high density areas risk not being connected to the national grid.
Was also constructed going into rural communities so that our people can have access to electricity. If anything, electricity is the engine for any economic development. You cannot talk of development if you do not have a reliable source of energy. The difference between us and rural communities is electricity. That's a fact. Our colleagues are in darkness, even in our own cities where we are, Lusaka. If it has been plunged into darkness, those of us who come from rural areas, immediate memories of rural communities come into mind. The New Dawn government has increased connection fees. PF government reduced connection fees for those of us who live in high density areas. For example, if you live in Ganyama, you live in Mtendere like me, you live in Garden, you are supposed to pay 700 kwacha. The idea behind that was to enable our communities, to enable our poor people to afford to connect to electricity.
The president was speaking when he addressed a rally at Mpezeni Presidential Square in Chipata. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So there you have it. That was a story where some citizens are actually giving their view on the proposed increase of ZESCO connectivity tariffs. And just now we jump into our first interview. We have been joined by Mr. Chilekwa Munkonge, who is the Constituency Development Fund Chairperson for Kawata Constituency. So good morning, Mr.
Good morning,
Munkonge.
good morning.
Yes, how is the morning today?
The morning is a bit okay.
And it's cold, actually.
It is, but compared to the past 3 days, today I think it's
much better.
It's much better, yeah.
Yeah, and just a reminder to our viewers, we now officially open our phone lines. And if you have any views that would like to contribute, kindly note that our phone lines are now open and you can call on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen, or you can leave us a message on our Facebook page where we are currently streaming live and just give your view on the topic. And just to get our interview running, we're going to look at one of the stories that we compiled. So basically, we're looking at the poor work culture of some contractors in Zambia. So we have seen many projects which have begun and some have been abandoned, and then some have not even been done to their expected capacity. And so just really let's take a look at a story that we compiled on 10th June on Constituency Development Fund projects. The attitude of some contractors working on government projects over the years has been a matter of public concern, as many projects have not lived to the expected lifespan, while others have become white elephants. A case in point is Lusangazi Bridge in Eastern Province and Kawambwa District Hospital project in Luapula Province, which have allegedly been abandoned. Lusaka's Kawata Constituency Development Fund Chairperson Mr. Chilekwa Munkonge says with increased CDA from 1.6 million to 25.7 million kwacha, there is need to monitor these projects closely and ensure that materials of good standards are used. Speaking to Camnet News after inspecting some CDF projects in the constituency from 2015, Mr. Chilekwa says he is not pleased with some findings, as the floors of some buildings have already started cracking, while the windows of some clinics like the Michael Chilufya Sata Clinic were poorly done, despite some of these projects being commissioned and will need to be renovated.
For instance, like the Chilufya Sata Clinic, I'm sure the windows, they're just opening them. The windows, they're not well fixed because of the window frames. So he has to go and redo it, because we need to have proper jobs. Even the one they're building in Livala also is not okay. So we need to call a contractor. So my appeal again to the contractor, whoever will be in Kawata constituency, will be on you. We need you people to do a good job. Not that here in Nivaboma, Nivan, if this is not about the bomber, it's about you yourselves, especially you residents of Kawata constituency.
The Kawata CDF chairperson has also called on residents to monitor current and existing projects in their constituencies and report any anomalies to the local authorities.
And my appeal to the Kawata constituency residents, please, when these projects are coming up, because there are the people who are coming up with these projects, when you see these projects are coming up, especially WDC and also the residents, please, when you see things are not going well, please, you move fast and you report to CDF committee or to the council so that you monitor. These are your projects. So you should be supervisors. You don't expect maybe the chairman of the CDF to come and start inspecting, or maybe the WDC. Even you residents, you are part of this. You should also be inspecting some of these projects when they are coming up.
Some of the projects inspected in Kawata constituency include Rockview Clinic, Kamlanga Police Post, and Mukandawire Football Grounds, among others. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. So there you have it. So that was a story from Kawata constituency, where after doing some inspections, Mr. Mkonge and his team actually noted maybe some things which they were not pleased with, and then some projects, of course, have progressed. And so really, Mr. Mkonge, the major question which people are asking right now is CDF really going to bring about the development that we have longed for? According to your view, and maybe according to what you've observed, since in your inspection, you inspected some projects that have already been ongoing. Does it look like maybe now with the increased CDF, we are really going to bring development, or is it something which is not attainable?
Thank you very much, Spora. Well, looking at the pace which we are moving, and being the first time we are implementing this, and looking at the allocation which has been given from 1.6 something to 25.7 million, which means this government, the New Dawn government, is trying to bring the money into the doorsteps of the residents. So my appeal is that we should change our culture in terms of how do we respond to our needs. For instance, this money is meant for the residents of any particular constituency. And it's entirely up to the people of that constituency to ensure that they put this money into good use. Because the president has said, this money, you should decide what you want to do. How do you want to develop your constituency? How do you want to develop your ward? It's entirely up to the people of that particular ward and the constituency. Now, it's being the first time, to me I feel that this exercise is going to work properly, because this is our first time we're implementing this, because people, they didn't know that there was a constituency development fund by then in the past years when other political parties were ruling. It was like a secret. Now it's no longer a secret. It's now open to all the people to see that there is this money which belongs to them. And that's one thing we should recommend this government, that they have come to open up the minds of the people that this is your money. And two, it's entirely up to you to use the way you feel like you want to use it. For instance, when you talk of coming up with schools, hospitals, desks, and other projects, it's entirely up to these people in their particular areas to decide what they want, because the money is with them. So I think this is going to work, except that being the first time, you know, there are hiccups here and there. But to me, being the CDF chairperson, I've noticed that this is going to work.
Okay, definitely. And so talking about this money actually belonging to the people, but there have been some concerns maybe from people like councillors and others stating that despite this money belonging to the people, the final authority or the final approval of projects actually still comes from the Ministry of Local Government. I don't know, how do you look at this? Do you think this should be maintained, or maybe should this be changed to make sure that whatever projects are decided at community level actually actualized? Because in the event that they're not approved, then that brings questions on whether this will actually come down to the community.
To me, I feel that when it comes to approve these projects, or to approve this money, how to should be spent in their particular constituencies and wards, I think maybe this should be localized, whereby the power should be given to the council. And probably the Ministry of Local Government should only come in when it comes to auditing these projects, how the money has been spent. Because this is what is going to help us to be moving fast. Because, for instance, me as the CDF chairperson, I sit down with the council or the technocrats, we approve some of the, either the bursaries, either the skills training, either the loans and whatever. But at the end of the day, we have to submit everything to the Minister of Local Government. And we have to wait for the Minister of Government to approve this project. But in actual fact, this Minister of Local Government, they are not there in the constituencies. So the best thing is they can localize it to the at the council level. So that is going to help us, for us also to move fast. Especially I feel sorry for the boarding bursaries, because it's taking so long, in the sense that these things have to be submitted to a local government to approve. So I think probably, as I heard the announcement of the president when he was in the Copper Belt, I think they are doing something to ensure that this money is given to the people of Zambia on time, especially when it comes to approving this.
We have projects. A call, Mr. Mkonge. Kindly hold your thought. You can continue. Hello. Yes, good morning. You can kindly tell us where you're calling us from and your contribution. And your name as well.
My name is Chedi
Okay, kindly go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment on your topic.
Yes.
I think this leads to various indicators. Peradventure, but not very. When these contractors are bidding for this control,
okay, kindly call us back. The line is really bad. Kindly call us back. Okay, so that was just, we were talking about the attitude of some contractors, like our topic is actually saying there, and I think we're trying to say something in terms of when they're bidding, but anyway, I didn't fully quite get the point, but really, Mr. Mkonge, you can continue, and maybe additionally, you can also talk about the attitude of some contractors based on what you noticed. Are they using materials of quality, or are we just throwing our money down the drain?
Well, that's another area where we are lacking. You see this system of saying never bomb and never bomb and never chan. You know, sometimes it's really bringing us back, because the projects which are being carried on in our areas, those are projects. For instance, if you are building a school, which is going to benefit each and everyone. It can benefit your children, your grandchildren, the children to come. Now, if you talk of what never bomb and never bomb, you see, my appeal to residents, let's be involved in this. This is our money. This is our project. If anything, it's us who are coming up with these projects. Now, if we don't put much effort to ensure that we supervise these contractors, then meaning that the money is going to waste. And not only that, you see, sometimes when we are coming up with these contractors, my appeal, let's ensure that we inspect these contractors where they are coming from and what type of works they have done. Because sometimes you find that in their company profiles, they insert in something which they haven't done, but they will say, it's us who did this, it's us who did that. But when they are given this contract, the work is so shallow that you can't even believe. And for the Lusaka City Council, especially when it comes to Kabwata constituency, we shall ensure that whoever will be a contractor in Kabwata constituency, whoever will be a supplier in Kabwata constituency, let them come with quality, which will last test of time. And I even appeal to Lusaka City Council that they should come up with concrete testers, so that even if they are there, they are able to test this concrete. Because, you know, I was very surprised when I went to Rilai School. The kind of floor which is there, which they have put about 2 months ago, you can't believe it. It has even started cracking. And these are the people who wants to be paid. For me, I can assure you, no one will be paid when you do a shower work in Kabwata constituency. Let's change the attitude, our work culture. We should change it. Let's be responsible. It's not a question of saying, no, let me just go and get the money. You have to work for the money. People must appreciate what they are doing. And in Kabwata constituency, I can assure you that we shall ensure that whenever I bring a contractor, he do a good job. If it means building a school, if it means building a clinic, it must be at high standard, not poor. Not poor work. The way I've seen it is Michael Chilufya's at a clinic, where you can stand outside and they are able to open the window because of the poor of the what? Of the door and then the window frames. I don't think those people, I don't know even where they got those window frames. And people are there to approve that the work has been done. Not in Kabwata constituency anymore. People should appreciate their money. And this is what the president is emphasizing. That please, this is your money. Ensure whatever project is coming in your areas, you supervise. If you are not happy with that contractor, there is the office of area member of parliament. There is the office of councillor. There is ward development committee. And there are those zones. Please ensure that you supervise these works. You don't expect to wait for the Lusaka City Council to come and inspect. No. It's us, the resident of that particular area, to do the inspection of these projects which are coming up. Because that is our money.
Yes, definitely. And maybe just what do you think, or maybe how do you think some of these contracts have been given in the past? Like, what do we need to change to actually make sure that we get value for our money, to ensure that we actually, maybe is it a matter of doing some background checks on these contractors? What really can we do to actually ensure that we've got quality projects that are being built with this amount of money that has been increased?
Zipporah, I think the culture which was there in the previous administration, I wouldn't say much. There was no proper close supervision to these people. Because even you and me, this is the time we are learning that there was 1.6 million constituency development fund. It's only in this new Dawn government that everyone now is aware that there is constituency development fund. Sometimes you just find that, oh, they are officiating, probably just an example, that they are officiating one of the police posts somewhere. And we don't know where that money
we have
came
another
from.
call, actually, Mr. Mukonge.
Good morning, madam.
Hello, good morning. Kindly tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and your contribution.
Am I clear now?
Yes, yes.
All right. I'm trying to make a contribution towards your topic of discussion today regarding the poor workouts of contractors.
Yes.
I think for me, it all starts with the procurement process. When a contractor bids for a particular tender or a contract, these procurement people or experts are able to look at what the input will be from this contractor. And when they pick this contractor, basically he's the best bidder. But I think where it all goes wrong is also on the aspect of regulation or inspection. When they are not inspecting and to make sure that the contractor is abiding by the rules or the clauses of the contract that you have given him or her, definitely you are going to find situations that the honorable guest has been able to mention, like where you find a building is complete, it looks nice on the outside, but with time it begins to deteriorate within a short period of time. Yes. So I think for me the greatest thing is to look at the aspect of inspection and making sure that a contractor is abiding by all that you have indicated that is supposed to input in a particular project. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution.
You've cut me short. Anyway.
Oh, no, you can go. You can finish. Thought you can go ahead.
So what also, that could be one reason, but the other part for me could also the fact that I would also start to question the procurement experts that give these contracts to such people that are not able to execute contracts to expected standards of excellence. Thank you so much for that.
All right, thank you.
Big time.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Okay, just a response to the caller, Mr. Mukonge.
Yes, just to comment on what my brother said, it's true. It's starting from the procurement department. It's like when they are picking up these contractors, I don't know what method they use, this we call technocrats, who are the engineers and whatever. Because there must be a BOQ. And of course, whenever they are bidding for these contracts, there is a BOQ which may be generated by the Lusaka City Council or whichever council. So that they should always ensure that whatever is in the BOQ should be followed. Now, I don't know whether it's because of maybe close supervision or supervision is not there. Or maybe it's, they have relaxed as engineers, as planners and what have you. So my appeal to whoever is in charge of this, especially at Lusaka City Council, where I belong as Kawata constituents, we belong to Lusaka City Council, is that please, engineers, those who are in procurement department, ensure that when you are coming up with these contractors, come up with the genuine contractors who are able to do a good job. Otherwise, if it means Kawata constituents, we shall not allow it. And we shall ensure that, in fact, as CDF chairperson and my committee, we don't even need to know these contractors. What we want is the work to be done. That's all. That's what is important. But if they are bringing contractors who are not able to do what we want, we shall not allow it in Kawata constituents.
Yes, definitely. And we have a comment here on Facebook, just from one of our viewers, who says saying CDF is not real. So I don't know if it's a matter of maybe the delayments in the same, like maybe do you think there's more sensitization to these community members on the CDF and really what part they can play in ensuring that they also contribute in their thoughts on what projects should actually be adopted in their constituencies? Well,
as I mentioned earlier on, you know, CDF is like it's a new thing because it was there, but we didn't know the use of this CDF. So people it was not publicized the way it has been publicized. And that's why you find that there are so many sentiments here and there. Others are saying it's not real, it's not what. CDF, it's real, and it's there. And as I'm speaking, in Kabwata constituency, we have the money in our account, which is seated in our account. And I can assure you, being one of the signatories to that account, I can assure you that CDF, it's real, and the money is there. What is taking so long? It's the implementation of these funds. When should we start using these funds?
We have another call, Mr. Mukongeke. Just hold your thought for now. Hello? Hello, good morning. Oh, lost the call. All right, you can go ahead.
Yes. CDF, it's real and it's there. What has taken so long is the procedure. As I said earlier on that, even His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, he mentioned, is it 2 days ago or a day ago, when he was in the Copper Belt, he said he wants to see this money start flowing to the residents, so that this project can we can start implementing them. Why? Because of the procedure is just too cumbersome, and they're trying to work on that procedure so that this money, the procedure maybe can be centralized at local level, so that, as I mentioned earlier on, that probably local government can only come in maybe to audit these accounts, and that is what is important. This is what is going to help us, because just imagine someone in Kaputa, they approve the project, then they have to send those projects to Lusaka for approval. How long does it take? And you know the bureaucracy which is there in these offices. Probably the file will be there maybe 2-3 weeks. That's when maybe it's either the minister, I don't know whether it's the minister or the PS, that's when they'll start looking at those files. And when you look at 156 constituencies, someone to finish, if it's one office which is approving those things, how long is it going to take? It will take 1 year or 2 years for the project to be approved. So that's why we are emphasizing that if the procedure can be shortened, maybe let it be done at council level, then the ministry can only come in maybe to audit the projects which has been done. That is what is going to help us. But otherwise, CDF funds, it's real and the money is there, except that the process is just too long.
Okay. All right, we have a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, can you tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and your contribution?
Morning, madam. This is Madam calling from Kampala.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Madam?
You can go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, I have a question that I want to ask, because this bothering us, this water. We want to ask about it's your real. Because we cannot see happening.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. I think basically that caller is asking, like, maybe what is the estimation? What is the estimated time that we're actually going to see CDF actually beginning to be seen on the ground? I think that's the question. That
for me, let me talk of Kabwata. For instance, Kabwata, we have done the bursaries, we have done the skills, now we are going to do into grants applications, and we have approved some of these projects. Of yet, we are about now to submit it to Lusaka City Council, to the local government. I can assure you the money in Kabwata is there. You see, some of these things, that's why you have offices for the area member of parliament. Try to visit the offices of the member of parliament. In fact, our Honorable Andrew Taengwa is there at your disposal. He has been going around the wards in order to sensitize people about the CDF. At one point, even he recalled those projects which people didn't participate. Meaning that he said, we cannot go ahead approving this project or taking this project without the participation of the residents. So meaning that if you are not participating, you just maybe want to hear that this has been done, this hasn't been done. That's why you find people are lacking information, because they're not participating. And one thing people should know is that this constituency fund, it's not only for one particular party. It's non-partisan. This money is for residency, for the people of Zambia. So when they call a meeting, for instance, we have at zone level, we have at WDC level, we have at CDF level. Please, when we call for this meeting, you need to participate in this meeting. You don't shine the meetings because this is non-partisan. CDF is for everyone. It's for every Zambian. So when we call the meeting, when the zone's leaders calls for this meeting, please attend so that you know at what level we are. That's why sometimes you hear people are saying, we don't know, we are not aware about this CDF, if this money is real or it's not real. The money is there and it's real.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Mukonge. And just now, even as we conclude, we're going to take a look at another project that was actually abandoned. So this is in Kawam, this is in Luapula province. So we have the Kawamwa Hospital project that was abandoned. It was started somewhere in 2017, but then it is now a white elephant. Even as we talk about the need for us to actually ensure that we engage contractors who actually get the work done. So let's just have a look at this story of Kawamba Hospital. This is the Kawamba District Hospital Phase 1 and 2 project, which now lies as a white elephant overgrown by grass and shrubs. The hospital, which gave hope to residents of Kawamba district when its construction first began, now lies abandoned as no works have been done since 2019, despite predictions from government officials then that it would be complete in the same year. A caretaker of the project, Mr. Martin Tembo, explains that he came here in 2017 when he was engaged as caretaker, and explains that the project was abandoned over 2 years ago.
Since kwenze ba TNDH banaenda banatisha paratia mzakala ma caretakers otherwise, so banaenda 2019 until 2019 until this time tisema caretakers from phase 1 na phase 2 using as volunteering otherwise.
Meanwhile, Chief Munkata says the current existing hospital is old, having been constructed over 60 years ago and has a limited bed capacity, hence the need to complete the project.
Bed space, I don't think we can even call it as a hospital or something else. So, but it's the hospital road Bapanga Ispatara chapter. Now, vice president of a municipal welfare survived the Bali Mona, the Fiaba hospital.
Meanwhile, United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batuke Emenda, who was in the area for a working visit, has expressed concern over the numerous abandoned projects in the country.
What is very important is that we have taken over government. After taking over government, before you embark on other things, you cannot try to be smarter by leaving a nice building like this and go and start a new building within Kawamba. We will complete these buildings so that our people can benefit. Health is the best way you can maintain a country of health people.
Communities have been charged to follow up on projects within their constituencies, with the increase of Constituency Development Fund from 1.6 million to 25.7 million kwacha and the introduction of decentralization. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News. So that was the story of the Kawamba Hospital project, which now lies as a white elephant. And so really to prevent such projects, similar instances, we have heard from the Kawata CDF Chairman, Mr. Chileoka Mukonge, who's actually saying we actually need to ensure that these contractors actually searched. We need to do some background checks on these contractors. Even as we conclude on our topic, Mr. Mukonge, really there have also been concerns maybe in terms of delayments, of bursaries and all that. What picture would you like to see, or how would you like to see CDF working going forward if it is to really actualize its purpose?
Well, as I said earlier on, what is important is that let the Minister of Local Government give powers to the local authorities so that they centralize this. Because this is what is going to help us to speed up the process of paying, especially for bursaries. Because we are delaying some of the students because of the process is just too cumbersome. But if they centralize at council level, this is what is going to help us. And that's why you find people are saying it's not real, it's not what. No, it's real, except that the procedure, the process itself is just too long. And I'm sure with the heads of, the head of state, His Excellency Haka in the HLM, as he rightly put it yesterday when he was saying, no, I'm giving you only 3 months in order to look at these procedures. This is what is going to help us. If they are going to decentralize these things at local level, meaning that councils will be responsible for this. Then let the Minister of Local Government be the supervisors to come and check what we are doing at council level, because it will help us now. The process will be easier for us. Even the delayment of paying these people are going for trainings, bursaries, I'm sure that will be maybe be taking just 2 weeks or a week for us to pay them. And that is what is also hindering these other projects. It's because of maybe the delays in terms of payments. In conclusion, if it's any, please, I ensure that, please, let's work together. Let's ensure that we sensitize the people. You know, it's like it's a new project where each and everyone, they don't understand what is CDF and how do we apply for this CDF and how much is involved. It's us as leaders, especially those Dow Thomases. Please, you go to the MP's offices, they will explain. You go to the councillors, they will explain it to you. Even zone leaders, they will try to explain to you. Please don't shine the meetings when the meetings are called in your areas concerning the Constituent Development Fund, so that you are able to have the information, you are able to contribute, you are able even to bring suggestions how we should move forward as residents in that particular area.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkonge, for joining us on the show, and thank you to our viewers out there who participated. So this is where we come to the end of this segment. We just take a short break, and on the other side, we're going to be joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who's actually going to help us discuss some medical scams in Zambia. So I've seen that some people have actually been making thousands of kwacha due to some beliefs. We have seen, for example, body enlargement and all those other things. So do join us on the other side as well, joined by Dr. Teddy Mlenga. So let's just take a short break for now.
On Monday, 13th June 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts Economic Front President, Mr. Winter Kabimba.
You know, power is only sour when it is in the hands of somebody else. When it is transferred into your hands, it becomes sweet, and all the wrongs that you saw with other people become right, because now you're in power. So to attribute the increase, you know, the rapid increase now, or the continued increase in commodity prices to the war in Ukraine is really not being truthful. Again, that is one thing that the UPND government has failed to own up.
Topic of discussion: where has Zambia gone wrong?
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
is working, waiting, this what you've been praying for.
Thank you for staying tuned in. Just now we are on the other segment where we have been joined by Dr. Teddy Mlenga, who's just helping us discuss some medical scams and myths in Zambia. So we have seen many places. For example, if I can just give an example, here in Lusaka we have Kamwala Market, where we have maybe organ enlargement medicine, sword, hip enlargement, and all those other things. But then really, are these things medically proven to work, or are people just being scammed? So welcome to the show, Doctor. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Zipporah.
Yes, I hope you're having a wonderful morning despite it being cold.
It's cold, but you see, I've put on 2 coats.
2 medical coats.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes, definitely. And so just to help us maybe kickstart our interview, yesterday we did compile a story, though not really directly connected to some of the myths, but it is on the abuse of medicine. So apart from people being scammed, we've also seen the abuse of different medicines to the point that some of these have actually been taken like by some people who are locally known as junkies and have actually become addicted to these medicines. So let's just take a look at the story on the abuse of medicine.
Despite having laws such as the Narcotic and Psychotropic Act No. 35 of 2021, Medicines and Allied Substance Act No. 3 of 2013, among other laws that guard against abuse of drugs by citizens in the country, the narrative is not seeing a shift to abiding to the set regulations. Some medicinal products, such as Benylin and cough syrup, among others, are being used as a drug pressure among young people, and regulating this conduct has proved to be a huge task as the trend of self-prescription is being entertained by pharmacists. For street kids, the drugs are a catalyst for good sleep in the code. This has become an issue for every compound. People in Lusaka's Chawama, John Howard compounds, among other areas, are concerned. And one of the pharmacists in John Howard compound explains to this journalist that Benylin or codeine and blue mash are being abused in various compounds and the demand for the drugs is too high.
Who had a lot of clothes, and then when you tell them, how is still a who's going to buy half the bottle? Because if you sell it, you have to buy the whole bottle. And then you hear them go like, but shower baba come guys, they want to more like they have it in my bag, then they go to such areas to go sell the same tablet like that.
Pharmaceutical expert Jerome Kanyika explains that the increase in such cases is due to lack of professionalism and called for a review of the Medicines and Allied Substance Act No. 3 of 2013 and Health Profession Council Act in order to seal loopholes that have been created.
We need now to make sure that we change the way pharmacies are regulated in Zambia, and this can only be done once we review the Medicine and Allied Substance Act and also the Health Professions Council Act.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority ZAMRA Public Relations Officer Ludovic Mwape explains that inspections will be heightened and feels the increased access of controlled drugs has come about owing to the influx of unregistered pharmacies.
You find that most places that are not registered by the authority sell these products indiscriminately to people without getting prescriptions from them. Increased access can also be attributed to the manner in which the professionals are handling the products. We have also increased sensitization as well as collaborative inspections of outlets that are not.
However, Namtula Sindila, who is Vision Zambia Initiative Executive Director, explains that clear-cut results of regulating controlled medicines can only be achieved once stakeholders work in unison and not in isolation.
We need the laws, the Zambia police and everybody else that is operating under the law, and the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Home Affairs, to also jump onto the bandwagon and ensure that these drugs are limited in supply, and those that are supplying to would-be addicts are brought to book.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
So there you have it. That was a story from Nelson Zulu, and you have seen really an abuse of medicine. And so just to viewers out there, kindly remember that our phone lines are open. You can give your view on the numbers that are scrolling on the screen. We're talking about medical scams in Zambia. So just walking in the street, one can see different posters saying get enlargement for this, get enlargement for that. So really, are these medically proven, or really should they even be banned? And so, Doc, maybe just to begin, how do you look at the issue whereby medical doctors, trained medical doctors like yourselves, actually maybe competing with so-called herbalists in actually giving some treatments to people? Do you feel that this should actually be allowed, or is this a threat to actually people's health here in Zambia?
It's a very interesting question. Western medicine versus traditional herbal medicine. You see, we are not against herbs, because most medicines are made from plants, right? Even quinine for malaria, chloroquine and others are products of plant technology. But what we are against is not knowing the physiology and anatomy of the body, not knowing how many kidneys and livers are in the body, not knowing where they are, not knowing what you take, where it goes and when it comes out. This is what we are against. Okay? So it's not just herbs, it's the absence of knowledge of what those chemicals do and what they constitute, what they contain. So if people can understand that the herbal use in China, for example, it's purified herbs. They have been studied. All right? You don't just dig up a root and then you give somebody, because it may contain maybe 50 chemicals, each acting differently on the kidneys, on the liver, and the brain. So we only demand for knowledge. If you have the knowledge and you can prove it, go ahead and use whatever method you want to use.
But then we've seen some posters saying get this, maybe body enlargement, another thing. Is that possible, or maybe are they just trying to make fast money out of maybe gullible people?
I call such simply scams, hoaxes, because there is no way you can make somebody taller than what they are. After 21, our bones stop growing, isn't it? So you can't make your finger taller or your nose bigger by use of herbs or medicines. So you cannot enlarge anything, whether it is hips.
But why have they not really been maybe stopped up to now? What could be hindering?
If you ask me, I can ask you the same question. Why do we still tolerate such? It's not the doctors or anything. It is the regulators, yes. I think we must strengthen our regulatory mechanisms.
And what are some of maybe the side effects? For example, if you just go to Kamwala, these things are easily accessible, even for children, maybe someone as young as 12 years old, an adolescent. If you just go to Kamwala, for example, here, they've been actually on loudspeaker saying, Mkola mahip, Mkola shan, and all those things. Really, what are some of the side effects to these things that people actually use?
You know, anything you take which hasn't been studied very well, the first organ to suffer will be first the stomach, of course. You get gastritis, inflammation of the stomach, vomiting and other things. But that is not even very serious. The next stage is that you may have side effects on the liver, because it breaks down everything you take in, whether it is.
So is it like a pill? I've never been reading. Is it like a?
No, they are herbal mixtures, sometimes containing nothing except picked up substances and mixed with biscuit.
And you know, one thing I found interesting yesterday when I was actually like just researching on this where there's this shop in Kamwala where they're saying they make about 2,000 kwacha per day on the bedroom enhancers, because people are actually flocking to get them. So it means these people are actually making a lot of money from this. But is it even possible that those things do happen? Like, is hip, for example, is hip enlargement, does it really happen, or maybe is it just something fake and later you have diseases such as cancer?
No, you cannot, as I said, after 21, our structures are done. You cannot enlarge hips, okay? Neither can you enlarge genital organs. You can't do that. So this is a hoax, it's a scam. People are making money out of people's, I don't know whether it's desperation. I don't know why one would want to have hips, large hips. What are they for? So, I don't know. So, that kind of desperation is what is making things very bad. Otherwise, these things do not work. There is no herb, there is no mixture or medicines that can make hips enlarged, or firming of hips, or firming of breasts, or enlarging of genital organs. It's
so maybe could some of our traditional beliefs, or maybe our traditional cultures, could they be to blame, given that maybe people view this as maybe the ideal person? Could there be some of, like, do we need to actually maybe debunk some of these? Do we need to conduct sensitization? Because we've seen that maybe our own culture is what is actually making, driving people to this desperation.
I think you I'm surprised you have picked up this one, because in the Western world, the ideal woman is a slim woman, right? When you come to Africa, I think, as you are saying, we had this idea that somebody must be plump, okay? And you have seen children when they are born, girls in some villages, they have strings of medicines around their waists so that they can have a good figure. And a good figure is a plump, big figure. So yeah, these perceptions sometimes are encouraging these kind of things.
Okay, and just now looking at some of the comments that we have on Facebook. So we have some comments here saying herbalists should be arrested. But then I think you earlier mentioned really where we're actually differentiating between the use of herbs and maybe the use of people who are in the habit of claiming to conduct some body enlargements. But we actually do see these posters everywhere saying maybe this person should call that number to actually have their body organs.
Or even looking at lost lovers, in court cases.
That's now isn't it witchcraft? That's now witchcraft, isn't it? Or maybe some spiritual things, really. But we're talking about maybe like body enlargement. So maybe what's your message to people, given that it is not medically proven that you can actually enlarge these body parts? What is your message to people when they come across such?
You know what, Zipporah? My problem is not even body enlargement. Many people already have discovered those things don't work. At the current happening right now, my worry is the vibe going for detoxifying the bodies. Detox. There is a big scam going on where people are selling foot pads. You put a pad and you tie it under the foot. The following day it becomes black. And somebody becomes very happy that I have detoxified my body. I have cleaned my body. And others are buying tablets, they drink, and when it comes out green or red, they say, okay.
We actually see this is it on buses, in a bus?
Babado, you have heard of Babado seed?
Yes.
The one they are selling when you are going to Kabwe or Kitwe or what on the buses.
So are you saying that maybe those things are not real?
In fact, they are very dangerous. I mean, for example, Babado seed gives you severe diarrheas. You have very, very severe diarrheas. And I mean, diarrhea is not good. If you have a child, the child gets diarrhea. Do we become happy that it is cleaning itself?
But
the child can die from diarrhea.
Isn't diarrhea okay normally? Or I don't know if maybe I'm also believing a myth, but anyway, when you vomit, for example, if someone is sick, when they vomit or have a running stomach, usually we are told that that's the body cleansing itself.
No.
Could that not be some of the same signs and symptoms?
No. Diarrhea is not cleansing yourself. Diarrhea is watery stew, right? Watery stew means you are losing water from your body. You can actually die from dehydration. So there's nothing good about vomiting or about having diarrhea. One should not have diarrhea. Diarrhea means the food that you took in is not being absorbed. Okay? You are losing it. You are losing water. You are losing salt. All these things which keep the heart working and everything is coming out.
So is it possible that someone can die from this?
Yes, yes.
That assault?
It's not. Don't say is it possible. They die. We have seen them die from those seeds in the bus. They die from dehydration, severe diarrhea, become dehydrated. They are still wasting time at home. By the time they come to the hospital,
as a doctor, maybe are you able to give us maybe some statistics? How many people have you seen die from?
No, in my practice, myself, I have myself seated in consulting rooms. I have had per week, I can say one person. At one point,
per week.
At one point, yes. Either we save the person or the person dies. Very severely dehydrated and kidney problems, you know, kidney failures and everything else. It's terrible.
But are these not actually certified?
Now,
for example, the ones sold in buses, are they not actually certified?
No, they are not. Certified by who? We can't certify seeds that are causing death or causing serious illness. These things are just picked up by people, being used because people think that diarrhea is cleansing yourself. It's not. I mean, I would ask anyone, the audience, if you have a child and the child has got 3, 4 times, 5 times diarrhea, you don't get worried. You say, no, it's cleaning itself, right? No ways. Now, for the pads, the ones they are tying under the foot, claiming that they are detoxifying the body. When it becomes black, people are becoming very happy. But the truth is that what we've discovered is that these pads have got aluminium granules in them. You understand? So when sweat comes in contact with that aluminium granule inside the pad, it becomes black. So it's not any detoxing that is happening. It's actually just a hoax, a scam, and people must stop wasting money on such kind of things.
Okay, so just if you are listening out there, we have been joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, and so you can do call in on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen. We're talking about medical scams in Zambia. Many a times when we're traveling, we see people selling all sorts of medicines on the bus, and these actually have been believed to be detoxifiers among many other medicines. We've also seen adverts calling for maybe different enlargement of body parts, and so we're discussing, are these real or are people just trying to make money out of ignorance? And so we have the doctor here who's actually helping us discuss some of the medical scams. So do call in and give us your view on these medicines. And we've also heard of stem cell therapy. Doctor, can you just help us maybe even really break down what is stem cell therapy and is it actually true?
Stem cell therapy.
We have a call, Doc.
Okay.
Hello? Hello, good morning. Kindly speak up.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
You are talking to Mrs. Good morning. May I contribute to this topic?
Okay, all right. Kindly tell us where you're calling us from and your contribution.
I am calling from Livingston and Mrs. Good morning.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I want to contribute to this topic.
You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. You know, even in the Bible, it is written that our people perish because of lack of knowledge. So whatever is going on in our country is out of ignorance. If people knew what they are doing, they wouldn't continue wasting money on useless things.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Okay, so that was Mrs. Mooney from Livingston just saying most people are ignorant. And so really, do you feel that, okay, maybe basically, do we see sensitization maybe to members of the public on such things? Are we seeing such maybe from the ministry mandated actually, which is the Ministry of Health? Do you actually see such, given that this business is actually booming? You
know, you journalists, we are appealing to you. Not to just spread politics every day. Okay? No CDF, no the quarreling every day over things. Sometimes help us to spread the messages. And I'm happy You have called me today. So this is part of sensitization. So let's not just consume politics. Let us also consume knowledge to save lives. So we are appealing to you guys to make us spread the messages more. Because without you, we don't have that medium of communication.
And it's actually just a call to the Ministry of Health to actually make sure that
there's more sensitization. And also implementation of the guidelines related to use of, medications. Zamra, for example, must be more on the ground, not to allow people to be selling all sorts of things, unproven things, dangerous things, things that are not making sense. Even now you mentioned about stem cell therapy.
Yes, actually you can just break it down maybe for viewers to understand really what is stem cell therapy and is it true?
I agree with Mrs. Nguni who was phoning from Livingston that most of our people are, full with ignorance and superstition, and that is where the major problem is.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. You're through to the breakfast show. Can you tell us your name?
Morning.
Yes, can you tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and your contribution?
My name is Benedicto Manzo. I'm calling you from Musaga, Kawata.
Okay, you can go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah, morning, Doc.
Morning, Mr. Mwanza.
Morning. I think the problem that we have with this company is that they're not regulated. These people that administer heads are not regulated yet. This thing, I think even Chinese hospital, when you got annulment and then you go there for treatment, they give you millions of drugs and they say just taking them. And the certificates, you don't know. So if they can be both that can regulate them, it would be like a doctor, because the doctor association of Zambia, if one of you errors, end up the someone to better the situation. But these people, they don't want to make them. The fact that they take advantage of people's ignorance, so they don't want to punish them for returning from doing that. And they end up scamming people, taking their money. The one of these things was no one can go and punish them. You go to the police and the police just say, but you have to buy these medicines from them, so there's nothing we can do. So try to have a body that can neglect them. Then we can be talking of putting an end to these scams.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. Okay, so I think it's just giving a call for these to actually be regulated. And so that's a quote actually to Zamra. Because we've even seen just these same normal pharmacies where you find that maybe the person behind the counter is not even a pharmacist, just a grade 12 school leaver. So really it's just a call maybe for regulation and enhanced inspections.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I can just maybe continue on our stem cell therapy.
Yeah, stem cell therapy is the new vibe. On the market, you find they call it S-stem, okay, SCT 30. They are in form of sachets, tablets, capsules, and they are being sold to say they can treat all sorts of diseases, every disease in the body, cancer included, HIV included, COVID included. They claim all sorts of things, arthritis, gastritis, everything. And again, as Mrs. Nguni was saying, ignorance. When they are using the word stem cell therapy, people are attracted to that. It sounds very fantastic, But the truth of the matter is that there is no stem cell therapy in Zambia. In fact, maybe in South Africa probably, but in most African countries, it's not there. So what is being claimed as stem cell therapy is nothing but a scam. Stem cell therapy is a form of where it is done, it's a form of transfusion of blood cells into the body to treat cancer. Stem cells are the early cells in a human being. So when you introduce them in another person, they regenerate, so they can actually change the dead cells to new ones. Okay, so they are used in terms of treatment of cancer of the blood, for example. But you have to transfuse. You cannot, like what is being sold in Zambia, you cannot use a tablet to keep cells of the body. You can't. So
using tablets, claiming that is stem cell, but actually a cell is something else.
No, there are stem cells which they have made, but they are not human stem cells. They are plant stem cells. They are still dead. They cannot. Plant stem cells cannot treat human. We can't mix this plant technology to human technology in terms of cells.
And actually making money out of it. Plenty of money, and I would like to warn the public that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why we don't have it in the hospital. You understand? If you see that we don't have something in the hospital, big worry. You find it in
Kamwala, in Matero. You mean Dr. Mlenga doesn't want to treat you, doesn't want to give you something that can treat all the diseases? I mean, if we knew that there was something like that, we would stock it in Chilenje Hospital or Kamwala Hospital or UTH. So if we don't have it, it means it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
Very, very interesting. And I've also seen another issue on using herbs to actually reduce one's weight. Or actually you have a phone book.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
It's on that just ask more to somebody. This Malaria. Hello, you know that yes.
I'm correct, and they can go ahead. Hello? All right, thank you very much for that contribution. Okay, so he's actually just echoing the ignorance that many people have out there, so they're doing many things. So maybe you can just respond to.
No, you see, there's just too much ignorance and superstition. Zipporah, you are from Northwestern?
Western.
But you have heard that in Northwestern, 3 people were killed because they were accused of being witches. The coffin pointed them out.
Oh yes, I've
the coffin that was being carried by people pointed the witches out, and they were killed. At 3 different funerals, 3 people died.
But was this coffin being carried by people?
Yes. It's being carried by people, and then it points at the person, and they kill the person. Now you can realize, you can see how bad our ignorance and superstition has gone, even to losing innocence.
I think I'd only believe it if the coffin is just on
you put it on the floor, let it walk and
it's being used by people.
Exactly. So now you see, we have reached that extent. Now bring that into medicines. What the caller here is talking about. It's terrible. the levels of ignorance we are dealing with and superstition.
Definitely,
You know.
very, very interesting. So
It's
please
terrible.
do continue calling and giving us your views on the topic. And so, Doc, we were just talking about using herbs to reduce weight.
Yeah.
Does this actually work?
The truth is, most people don't want to hear is that there is no herb, there is no tablet, there is no tea, lemon tea or green tea or yellow tea or whatever
I have
tea.
another call. I don't think we're going to finish today.
No, it's fine. It's for the people to participate.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
We're fine,
I'm
thank
good, how are you?
Yes, we're fine, thank you. Kindly tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and you can give your contribution.
I'm calling from Sparta. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm calling from Sparta.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. How do you get the need of body maintenance? Hello?
Hello? We can hear
Yes,
you.
how do you get the need of body maintenance?
Yes, you can go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the doctor is saying that when someone listens to environment, it's not the body part is for growing. But you find that whenever the person wants to manage this pain, I don't know for what reason. So I think maybe the issue of specialization is very important. Let's keep this inside because they're just wasting their money.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So we have a caller from Sparta who was commenting on the first issue.
Yeah.
Your response to the caller.
Yeah. No, I think he's just saying repeating what we have been saying, and we thank for those views. We agree that you cannot enlarge any part of the body using herbs or medicines or whatever. You accept what God has given you, and be happy. Yeah. Back to the weight issue. Those people who are overweight usually are troubled that they need to drop weight. Yes, overweight can lead to heart disease, blood pressure diseases, diabetes, and everything else. It's a risk factor for heart disease. But reduction of weight, sometimes people want to take it lightly, that you can just take some lemon tea every day, green tea, okay, yellow tea, or take some tablet, or go to game stores and buy some gadget and tie it on your tummy every day, and your weight will go down. It never works. The only way to reduce weight is to check what kind of food you are eating, how much you are eating, and to exercise. So there are only two things: food and exercise. The rest is a scam. If you go and buy a tablet for weight reduction, you are just wasting your time. It doesn't work.
Okay, and we also seen maybe if you go to these same herbalists, they've also enhanced, they've also, with the use of technology, they're also using laptops now.
Okay.
So giving various maybe diagnosis.
Yeah.
How reliable do you think that diagnosis is, which is actually given on these laptops?
I've seen these herbal clinics run by people who have never been to medical school, right? Sometimes not even up to grade 12. So all they do is order a laptop and order these small Chinese gadgets. We call them.
Should we actually rely on their diagnosis?
No, I'm coming there. They connect this gadget, quantum analyzer, we call them, to a laptop. And then they tell you to hold the probe. And then allegedly it starts telling you from brain to the toe. Okay? No, your heart is got fat. Your liver is got fat, your blood is thick, it cannot move. Imagine you are walking, you started off from home walking, you reach the herbal clinic, they tell you your blood doesn't move. How did you get there if your blood is thick and doesn't move? So yeah, so they tell you all sorts of problems, including the power to make children and what and what. And then the bill. 2,500 herbs. Buy these herbs. So what we are telling the people is, again, these gadgets are not in the hospital. For a simple reason. They don't work. They are misleading and they are in the wrong hands.
I'm actually learning for the first time that it's actually that serious, whereby they even like they will tell you all your problems using the laptop and all.
The last time somebody came to me and said she was given about 68 diagnoses. Yes.
From the same laptop.
And given a bill for 7,500 to treat.
But okay, what makes people prefer going to these instead of going to the hospital? And especially given that we already have this issue where people are saying, could it be maybe the lack of medicines in hospitals?
No, it's not.
Why do people prefer?
It's the way they advertise themselves. They say, come for full body scan.
And maybe quick, maybe...
Yeah, imagine they tell you, come for free body scan to find out about your health. We don't do that in the hospital. We cannot do full body scan. It doesn't exist. We can do x-ray of the body, but still we do not do x-ray from your foot to the toes. Usually it's rarely necessary. If you are having a problem with the lungs, we shall aim at the lungs. If you have got a problem with the toes, we do the x-ray of the toes. We cannot do full body scan. So they claim that they can analyze your body from the foot, from the head to the toes by just a simple gadget attached to a laptop. And then they tell you, these guys don't even know how many chambers the heart has. And they are advising people that your heart has got fat, your liver is fat, it has to be, get these herbs to remove the fat around your heart. And you are happy. You go home dancing.
And people actually are putting their health in danger.
Because if you really have a problem, that problem will be getting worse, of course. While you are believing that gadget, total... Instead
of actually going to get professional...
Total body scan. It's a scam. It's not, it cannot
really
happen.
Something else.
It can never happen. But they are very popular in town. You find sometimes just beside the road somebody's got a gadget.
The funny thing is that we know where to find them. So meaning these regulators actually also know where to find them.
So again, the regulators are missing these things. Or they are not moving, they are in the offices.
They actually need to enhance.
They need to enhance surveillance of these places. And look, if I go today and open up a surgery without a license, they'll come and arrest me. But I'm a doctor. So now why are we allowing people who have never gone to medical school, open up so-called clinics, start treating people, swindling people of money? You understand?
Yes, definitely.
It is not right for our regulatory bodies to just leave people, running around.
Yes, definitely. And to our callers, you can always continue calling in and give us your views on the numbers that are scrolling. We're talking about medical scams. Many people have lost thousands of kwacha to untrained doctors out there who claim...
Don't even say doctors.
Or unclaimed, self-proclaimed health
scammers.
Experts. Yes, scammers out there who actually claim to be able to solve problems using different types of medicines which are not even actually approved. And so, Doc, we've also seen something which is common in the community. The issue of people actually cutting, I don't know what it's called, but it's right under the tongue, when a child is failing to talk. Maybe if they feel that a child has delayed in talking, they call it akalima, something like that.
Akalimi.
Yes, we've also
tongue tie.
Yes, we've also seen that happening in the community. Do you feel that maybe this, what are the dangers of the same?
Fortunately, the so-called tongue tie, akalimi, is not a very serious thing. So even if it's, let me say, medically, it's very rare. But if you go to compounds and those places where grandmothers looking after the children, grandmothers always find akalimi. For some reason, I don't know why. The father won't find it, the mother won't find it, the grandmother always finds the tongue is tied. The child has got akalimi, because when the child says, ma, this kind of thing, they say, no, the tongue is... But the truth is, the tongue is just short in kids. Okay? With time, if they leave the child with time, the tongue grows out, and that so-called tongue tie retracts. We all have that.
Naturally.
We all have it. It's only that in kids the tongue is short, so it appears near. and though the grandmothers rush to tell the mothers to go to the
And what are the dangers? Can it lead to a child actually not talking?
No. It's
like in case it's cut.
A real one, which is very rare. A real one, the child will not be discharged from maternity.
Okay.
Because it won't breastfeed.
Okay.
You can imagine if you cannot move your tongue. It's very difficult to swallow anything. You cannot cry because you can't make sounds, proper sounds. So we would treat that as a real one. We treat it. But once we've discharged the child is fine. It's breastfeeding, it's crying, and then grandmother looks in the mouth and sees that thing which is very natural. All of us have it. In kids, it's a bit near. The grandmother always says the tongue is tied, akalimi. And then sometimes they try to go in there with very dirty instruments, infection. Sometimes they may cut deeper, leads to bleeding. A child can bleed. So that's why we discourage even our staff.
And if cut wrongly, can it lead to a child maybe?
Yes,
What are some of the dangers?
From bleeding.
Long-lasting dangers. Maybe can the child maybe fail to talk in the future? What are some of the long-lasting?
No. The immediate danger is just that surgically, if you do not know where to cut and how far to cut, the tongue has got a lot of blood vessels. It bleeds like no man's business. So if you cut wrongly, it can lead to severe bleeding and you can endanger the child's health. That's the most dangerous part of it.
And we've also seen really a lot of myths surrounding the eyes. We've seen people putting milk, putting urine in the eyes, and maybe saying that if you wear glasses, this and that. Really, what are some of the myths surrounding eyes?
The first myth I heard about eyes is when we make a diagnosis that you are not seeing well and you need glasses, people say, no, if I wear glasses, then my sight will become poor. But we would like to tell them that it's actually the other way around. If you don't wear the glasses, then the eyes will be struggling to see. Okay? So with time, as long as the eyes are struggling, with time the eyesight becomes poorer. So the glasses must be worn once you are prescribed.
So some people actually prefer to not wear.
No, then they are making a mistake.
Feeling that maybe they're actually making them worse.
They are saying eyeglasses, reading glasses worsen the eyesight. But it's the other way around. If you don't use them, then your eyes will be struggling every day. In science, they call it accommodation. You remember in biology, accommodation, opening of the pupil and closing. It adapts every time and struggling muscles. There are muscles around the eye there. So they will be struggling every day because you are straining to see. So it's the other way around. No glasses and you have got a poor eyesight. The eyesight becomes poorer because the eye will be struggling. So people, once you are prescribed, wear them. Don't believe the myth that glasses make eyesight poor.
And also the issue of urine and also urine and breast milk in the eyes. Is it advised?
If there is anything that you'd want to put in the eyes, must be neutral. Water.
What about, for example, we've heard many instances, for example, if a snake, for example, spits in someone's eyes, people actually go and put breast milk. Is that actually medically? Is it medical? It is actually a well-known myth.
I've heard about it.
Yes. So is it medically proven?
No,
is it just one of the
if a cobra spits in your eye, it's always cobras that spit. The best thing is to use water, which is neutral.
Just plain water,
not breast milk, not urine. Okay?
Just water.
Just water, which is neutral, and then go to the hospital. So there is no need of putting anything else there in the eye. In fact, the eye does not need anything whose content you are not very sure about. The eye is very sensitive. The only thing we know which is neutral is water. Anything else, breast milk can contain HIV, can contain a lot of
so can you get an HIV transfer through breast milk in your eyes?
Yes, you can. Yes.
That's possible?
Yes.
Because HIV anyway transfers in liquids.
Yes. But that's not the only reason. But that's one of the major reasons. I mean,
actually, I thought this is actually common. Like we've heard this from childhood. If a snake, if a cobra spits in your eyes, rush, look for a breastfeeding woman, and have that milk in your eyes, or else you go blind. But I'm sure I've learned that you have to actually use water from the doctor. And even as we get to conclude on some of the medical myths in our communities, we also have the abuse of shisha. Can you just comment on that?
Oh, this is a very sad thing. I think one caller mentioned something like insuko.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so insuko is a powdered tobacco that our grandmothers, you know, this. You've seen them doing this kind of thing. Our grandmothers, right? You have been to the village.
Yes, I have been to the village, and I've seen that.
You have seen this. Yeah. Now, in towns, they are putting it in the private parts. The females. You haven't heard that. It's to make, supposedly to make them warmer and tighter. Nsuko.
But what are the dangers of
Dangers, cervical cancer. Cervical cancer, development of cervical cancer. So please, our viewers out there, if you are fond of doing such things, desist. Shisha, it's very sad. Our young people have gotten to eat so much. Shisha is a piped tobacco that is heated with charcoal and flavored, and then they smoke it and inhale the smoke. It's flavored, different flavors, pineapple, what, avocado, whatever. And they currently in Zambia, our young people think that to use shisha means that you have arrived in the world. Okay, you are somebody, you are there. But unfortunately, what they don't know is that just 1 hour of using shisha is equivalent to smoking 100 cigarettes at once. Yes, and so they think it's a wonderful thing.
So this actually the risk of
it is more nicotine giving, more, you know, cigarette contains about 70,000 chemicals. 70 of them are cancer causing. So you inhale more these dangerous chemicals which are cancer causing than even in cigarette. Both are bad, but shisha is worse, contrary to what our young people out there are thinking. So my message to the regulatory authorities, I don't even know why we had to come to Zambia. Better we would have just left it out. Ban it before it gets hold in the rural areas, in Kasama and Mongu and Petauke and wherever. Before it spreads there, maybe we should consider banning it, or totally. It's quite a dangerous way to bring in dangerous chemicals.
I didn't even know it was that dangerous.
No, it is.
Yes. And so lastly, as you conclude, you've seen a number of sexual boosters there on the market. What is your comment on this? Are they actually real? Do they work? Or what is your message?
The sexual boosters on the market, the things they call tototo, whatever, poo, I don't know. There are different names.
Are they part of the medical scams?
No, they are part of scams because they work on a psychological level.
So it's
imagine yourself, you have spent 500 kwacha. Of course, when you go home, you'll be convinced that it is working. First, you have spent money. Second, the psychological element makes you feel good. So if you notice a slight change in your behavior, it's because it's a psychological
so it's
thing.
just meant
But
just
now,
a scam to get your money.
It's a scam to get your money. But again, very toxic maybe to the kidneys and to the livers. So they should be avoided.
Yes, definitely. And this is where we actually are coming to conclude. So, Doc, you can just give your concluding remarks actually on the same, maybe just a summary of the topic and what your call to the regulators, and just a message to the viewers out there in the communities.
Yeah, this is a hard one. First of all, to my people out there, avoid getting, scammed through these various claims of treatment this. For every treatment, somebody has to know the body, somebody has to know the work of the medicine, somebody has to know how the medicine comes out of the body and how long it works. Any other, you are taking a risk. So you need knowledge to engage in the treatment of people. So they should avoid going to the streets for diagnosis, to the herbal clinics for diagnosis, right? And avoid buying medicines at markets, herbs at markets, because they don't know how they are going to be effective, how they are going to affect their normal health. To our regulators, Zamra and others, councils, I think it's time we put up a better fight of going around markets, streets, making sure that people are selling concoctions. I mean, how do we allow somebody every day to be boarding a bus and selling babaco seeds, which are causing headache, killing people, causing severe disease? How can we allow that? The driver is there, the conductors are there, yet they're allowing people to jump in the buses and, you know, claiming to cure people. Who cures? Who does any diagnosis in a bus? And I mean, this is poor regulation. Because to enter a bus and stay there for about 1 hour, jump out, wait for another one, jump in, 1 hour, and jump out. The product. Somebody is not doing their job somewhere. We are not regulating these things. That's not a place to sell medicines or campaign for medicines by people who don't even know what they are talking about. So I think our regulatory bodies need to up their game so that we protect, you know, public health.
Yes, definitely. So this is actually time up for us for today, but we had some very interesting topics. Earlier in the show, we were joined by Mr. Chilekwa Mukonge, who's the CDF chairperson for Kawata constituency, just talking about the poor working attitude of some contractors. And later we were joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, just debunking some medical myths and actually exposing some medical scams. And a call has actually been made to the regulators to actually tighten these regulations and make sure that only professional bodies actually sell this medicine or give this medicine out to people. And so you can join me tomorrow on the show from 7 hours to 9 hours. But for today, it's have a wonderful Monday morning.
Thank you.